Hello, everybody, and welcome to Project Talk with Glenn and Glenn. So I don't know what's happened to James. Actually, it looks like he just messaged me, but it's all right. I thought I'd go ahead and start without him. I'm tired of being called out on being late all the time. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what's going on with James. We'll get him in here as soon as possible. I don't know if he was having issues. He's asking me if all is good. Maybe he forgot that today is Sunday. I don't know. I did message him earlier, but anyway, so we'll go down the list. Nadav is first today. Felipe was in here. I don't know if he still is. He says hello from New York City, and he'll see us all next week. Alan Osborne is here. 3D Medic Vince is here. Lester is here. Ollie is here, Scott McClellan, and Clint. And that looks like everybody for this minute 30 in. And, I think James followed the wrong link. I know what happened. Sorry, hang on one second. Because James has multiple Twitters. I'm assuming that I'm in the right one. I am live, so I have to assume that I'm in the right one. And it does say episode 35 up on my screen. So, yeah, he's been waiting for 20 minutes in the green room of the other of the stream from last week, I believe. Too many Twitters, too many Twitter accounts. So how is everybody today? I have to admit something. I didn't print anything through the week. When the stream wrapped up last week, I was going to go ahead and start a print on the Prusa and have the results for you guys this week, but I didn't. I went down and ate, and then I just kind of forgot about it. And then I thought, why would I want to do that? In YouTube, it says episode 36. What? I don't know. I don't know. I followed the link that I sent them this morning. But either way, I'm live. Oh no, my print just failed. So I guess the moral of that story is my print just failed. So I decided I didn't want to run the print through the week and then be like, this is what happened, Nurse James.
I was on time. I was like, oh, we'll get a chance to chat for a bit. I got my camera set up and everything. I even have my new monitor wired up and ready to go and all the screen stuff set.
So
it's so weird that he hasn't messaged me to say he's going to be late. And I had the stream opened, like the actual video. And I clicked on it. I'm like, okay, well, nothing's live and nobody's commented on there or whatever. But what should have gotten me is the fact that the comment section from StreamYards was empty.
So I was right. Like, I'm in the right one right now, right?
Yeah. No, it's my mistake. I got the message from you this morning linking it. So I came downstairs and I still had Twitter open from last week. And I'm like, oh, there's the link. And just clicked on it. And yeah.
Okay.
I'm a big fat dummy.
Technology's hard sometimes.
Too many Twitters.
Oh, I just want to double check everything on my end. And I don't know. You'd think if we were professionals at this or something, then, things would be different.
My setup is coming along a little bit every week. I've now got a permanent camera up here. I've got my 4K camera that's adjustable on a tripod. I've got the tripod way up high, and then it comes down on a steep angle. So if I want to get it in on the screen of an old computer or whatever I'm working on, it's not so likely that I'm going to bump it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
You can see all my old computers and the power brick just hanging in the background.
Yeah, YouTube does show us as live on the right stream, so.
No, it's definitely my mistake. I wouldn't check the date on the one that I clicked. It was from May.
so I just totally failed my print. It was going along pretty good
until it wasn't.
Yeah, definitely not enough squish. I got to give it a little more squish.
The only thing I didn't get set up was I want to set up one of my decent microphones. Right now, I'm still using the one that's built into the camera.
Oh, okay.
But I couldn't find a USB mini or a USB micro cable to hook up either of the good ones that I've got. So, but.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to do that again.
Only this time with more success.
Huh?
Except for this time with more success.
Right. This time I'm going to give it a little bit more bed squish. So let's go back in here and
everybody in chat, how was your week? Tell me about it. Tell me about your successes. Tell me about your failures. Tell me about your mom's lasagna.
I don't think my mom makes lasagna.
I'll forgive her.
Octoprint is still very angry that I'm running Python 2. I really need to get that updated.
Do or do not. There is no try. Try and catch. There is no fail. Nadav can have a refund. Nobody else can. Because Nadav scares me.
Nobody gets a refund. I was on time.
Oh, okay.
You were the one that was late.
Okay, well, I guess partial refund for Nadav. We all know that they only tune in for me. To make fun of me.
All right, let's see. My live Z right now. Well, it says it's for a smooth sheet, but it's not.
Glenn did, in fact, get the Prusa up and running at the 11th hour last week. Well, it's past the 11th hour, but we'll call it the 11th hour. And that's where we left it. It was, I thought you were doing a test print at the end of last week when we logged off.
Well, that's the story I was telling when you had popped in and then my print failed. Those two things weren't, those had nothing to do with each other. It would have failed even if you hadn't popped in. But so at the end of the stream last week, got a rogue cat up here. At the end of the stream last week, I did say that I was going to run a test print so that I could show off the results. This is kind of fun. I should have printed one of these months ago.
Yeah, I think they call those tassels, and they're supposed to be attached to your body somewhere.
Oh, from your ear?
Sure, let's go with that.
Hello, rogue cat. Geets.
That's my cat's child.
No, the cat's on the floor. Now the cat's in the child's hands. But yeah, so after the stream, I went and ate, and then I just kind of didn't come back up here. And through the week, I thought, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait and just print it live. So, and you guys got to watch that fail. No, I guess you didn't because you can't really see it right now, but.
So the only problem is with my tripod extended so high and then so far forward is that if I bump the power cable just a smidge, it makes it bounce up and down the whole thing because it's it's quite extended. So I'll have to keep an eye on that when I'm filming. Brian wants to know why we're looking at OMAC. Well, it's because it's what I've been working on for my video for this upcoming week, and it's still sitting here because I need to get some more footage out of it. But I thought I could show off some stuff on it during the stream today. Also, I can be more social now that I've got chat and everything forward facing.
Yeah, well, we're looking at an old Mac because James can't afford a new Mac.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that just off camera, if I pivot it, there is a much newer Macintosh sitting there waiting to be worked on.
Yeah.
There's the whatever generation iMac with an Intel. I think that's a Core 2 Duo on that one. But I don't know what it is, but everything I have found that's been like too cheap for me to pass up has been Macintosh lately.
Yeah. Yeah, because nobody wants them.
It's true. I got this guy for $100, and other than being retro bright and then me breaking things on it, it's been good. And like the other Macintosh stuff I've gotten, three of the machines I got were free. I just picked up I've cut off. I found a bunch more, and I was like so close to buying them because it was like $60 Canadian for another one similar to this guy, but like a slightly newer model. And then I said to Kim, like, I'm going to stop because this one kind of fills that era, right? I want to try and, for the time being, unless my channel takes off, I want to stick with one machine sort of per era. Because otherwise I'm just showing like, oh, here's one that's almost the exact same design, but has a hard drive. So I bought one more. A buddy of mine was going to Toronto, and I found one there that's Macintosh 2. Sorry, it's a Macintosh LC3, and it fills the gap between this one and the PowerPC ones that I have. But
it's about as close as I can get my. No, I lied. That's about as close as I can get my camera.
I like how you and I are exact opposites. Like my right corner screen is almost the same size as your right corner screen. Oh, there. Now we're twins.
Well, we are brothers from another mother, so.
True. I'm going to go ahead and boot this guy. So I've added this piece here, which is kind of cool. It is they call it the Floppy Mu, and as you might imagine, it emulates a floppy drive. But also with specific Macs, it can emulate a up to 2 GB hard drive, and it connects to the floppy floppy connection on the back of the Mac. So while I did get one of the floppy drives up and running and it'll boot off of it, I can now boot off. I've got a 250 meg image on here, and it's faster, it's easier to get software on, and I installed a Macintosh emulator on my PC that's able to load the disk images from there, so I can copy software over to it from my Windows PC, build up the image, and then come here, connect it, and use it on actual hardware.
Now, what year is that Mac from?
I think 88.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah, so to have a 2 gig image capability, that computer never seen even close to that. I mean, 50, maybe 80 megabytes?
Well, that's weird. The geometry on the screen's gone weird. Oh, now it's back
I thought it was just from the camera.
Could you see that there for a second?
Yeah, it was like kind of choppy.
It was more like the screen looked normal, but it was like instead of being smooth down here, it kind of went to a point on either side. It was like the geometry.
The box in the middle looked like it was skewed and had like sawtooth on the edge.
Yeah, and then it went back to normal. I'm going to shut it down and start it up again, see if it does it again. Because it's also possible what'll happen on these guys at some point is that the power supplies start to weaken, and adding an additional device, even if it's not drawing a lot of current, will be enough that some things start to go a little wonky. So it looks normal now. It is off to one side, but you can fix it, but I'm not confident that I can do it without damaging something. And since it's not losing any screen, I'm like, you know what, I'll just deal with it.
So I want to go back and touch on something. And this might be a can of worms I don't want to open, but Brian said, I missed it because my bat died. So I don't know if that's a mistype or if Brian had a bat.
And it died.
Because that opens like a whole bunch of questions that I want to ask.
Are you a Batman? Are you the Batman?
Glenn Hogue has joined us.
I'm going to zoom in here. Get a little more action, a little more focused in on the screen. That's probably about as good as it can get, I think.
Sergio has also now joined us. Oh, Ollie said that he's spent most of the week kegging and bottling homebrew beer.
That sounds like a good time.
Well, for those who like beer.
So the first thing was anybody that watches my retro videos will know that I try to fit a Star Trek game in wherever I can. The closest I could get is there is a Star Trek game that runs on this generation of hardware, but it requires a color screen. So the closest I got was in the video I run the installer, which starts off okay. You can see it says Star Trek installer and then Mac Play. And we get to the point where it says continue, and then it goes, this software requires 32-bit color quick draw, which this system does not have. Installation cannot proceed.
32-bit color.
Well, it's not 32-bit color quick draw. So then I was like, maybe I can install this version of quick draw on a black and white machine, and it just needs to be able to process stuff. But nice. So it did do that weird geometry thing again on boot up. It would be interesting to see if it does it off of a floppy.
Well, sadly, what Brian meant was that his battery died. I guess not sadly, because I wouldn't want his pet bat to die, but I had so many questions. Yeah, he said his cell phone battery died, so he missed the end. So he didn't know that the Prusa was fixed.
I see.
So, but I guess this works out because nobody really wants to see this. Everybody wants to see that back there. So
and try and boot off of a floppy if it'll do it, and see if it does the screwed up geometry there or if it's only off of the emulator. No, it does it on the floppy too. How odd.
Weird.
The next thing I'll have to try and do is move a box, like move a window around the screen and see if it screws up the geometry, because I'm wondering if it's this box here that's causing flux capacitance.
Oh, I hate when you get too much flux capacitance. Well, unfortunately, I still haven't gotten to move to the new studio. So everybody can give Sean a hard time for not getting his stuff out yet. But I did take some measurements today to kind of figure out how it's going to lay out. And I absolutely believe that I'll be able to have the FK1 directly behind me, and then the Prusa on one side and the AM8 on the other side. And all the other 3D printers are just going to be hidden away, because who needs those?
Yep. Go big or go home.
That's right. I do need to give the AM8 a little TLC. My I don't know. I took the side off of the mainboard box, like the cover, and I've never put it back on. And I want to set up auto bed leveling on that. So there's a couple of projects that'll be coming up. I don't know how much I want to give away. I guess to this audience, it's okay. But I am going to have a couple of videos coming up really soon where I get to wear these super cool goggles.
Are those welding glasses?
Yeah. So, but that's all I'm going to say. You can figure out what it is from there. But it's a nice one, that's for sure.
So I have confirmed that the amount of white on the screen affects the geometry on the side. So that probably, if memory serves, means that capacitors are starting to weaken on the analog board.
Yeah.
So it might have a recap in its future. Did you ever play the Star Wars arcade game?
Probably.
It was all vector graphics, and you flew in and you shot a bunch of TIE fighters.
It was like the game Tempest. It was designed like the game Tempest with the
wireframe of everything.
What's that?
Like everything looked like wireframe.
Yeah. It
turns out there's a really decent port with speech and everything on this machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm gonna fire it up. I like when it started playing the sound effects and stuff, I couldn't believe it.
Well, don't let it play any theme songs. Holy crap. Being who owns that stuff now. That's pretty amazing.
That's when I get to the trench run.
Yeah, I remember this game. Absolutely.
It looks pretty close to how it looked in the arcade, I think. I didn't load up images to compare, but certainly strikes me this is how it looks.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the Lego Jedi Saga to be released in a couple of days.
Is it an HD remake? Or is this a new game?
It's a new game, but it's the first time they've used this particular engine. So, like, it's the graphics in it are surprisingly good for a Lego game. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to shake that around. Not that you could tell because the printer shakes around, but so this print looks like it's sticking a little better. If anybody's wondering, that thing that I'm printing is actually it's a little boat, and I've printed. It's not a benchy. I've printed a few of them for Zach, and he likes them, so it's a good test. It's about a 2.5 hour print, so it will not be done by the end of the stream. Glenn Hook said, I'm on my cell phone today. Do you need to make a trip to LKQ? Now, that's dedication. You're on your cell phone and you're out at the junkyard pulling some parts, watching a live stream.
We appreciate that type of patronage.
Absolutely. Even if it is Glenn with one N. Alan King asked, Alan, it not only floats, but it actually has a slot in the bottom where you can put a penny in case you need to weight it properly, but they do actually float pretty well. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. Yeah, so Glenn, I'm going to be making a trip in a couple of weeks to one of the LKQs. I don't have one nearby. Hour and a half is one, 2 hours is the other, but I'm going to be going to one with Sean Shenanigans to get some parts. And you're not supposed to film inside of an LKQ. It's one of their no-nos on their rules, but we're going to do it anyway.
I've been so tempted to get video recording glasses, like find really not the non-obvious ones and be able to wear them wherever.
Well, I mean, what even if they were obvious? Are they going to say, "Oh, you can't wear those in here"?
Like,
I know, I understand why they do it. Like, they don't explain it, but I'm 90% sure that the reason that they do it is so that you don't get YouTubers going in there and filming the removal and whatever of a part, but then they don't buy anything. Like, they just use the cars in the junkyard to film content, which would be a genius idea. But
I mean, that's pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, we need parts for an upcoming. I just read your tweet again. Any chance you sent me the wrong link? Any chance you clicked on the wrong link?
100%.
It was on my watch. It just made me laugh. But yeah, we need parts for an upcoming video. So by smuggling in the camera, we'll be able to get parts. You know, like footage of getting the parts for the video.
It's so easy to smuggle a camera in now that they're built into people's cell phones. Because who's going to take away your cell phone?
Well, yeah, I think we're going to be smuggling in a little more than that, but.
I should probably stop playing this, but, you know, once you get going.
I had to
This
look
game's
up.
from 1988.
What's that?
This version of the game is from 1988.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I wonder if they took
something called The Force.
I wonder if they took this off of Thingiverse. Thingiverse has just gotten worse and worse and worse. Ah, here it is. All right, let me drag this over to a different screen. I'll do a little quick screen sharing.
Does the speech get picked up from this thing?
I couldn't really understand it, but I could hear it.
It's recording of Harrison Ford going, "You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home."
So this is the boat that I'm printing right now. And in fact, these pictures are showing it floating in water. Let me load up the flipper thing. So it's got a slit that absolutely does not show.
Okay,
yeah, it's got a slit in the bottom. Why doesn't it show that? That's weird. But yeah, you can jam a coin in there so that it becomes more bottom heavy, like a keel. It was featured on a Xanders Thing Thursday a million years ago.
Back when Xander was cool. It wasn't just Rec Room this and Rec Room that.
That's right. When it wasn't all about video games. Oh, and I guess I should give my apologies for there not being a Fun King Garage video on Friday. It's kind of beyond my control, and then it was kind of beyond everybody's control, but I do have the video now. It will be releasing this Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The planets just were not in alignment, apparently.
Happens to the best of us. Why wouldn't it happen to the rest of us?
That's right. Brian asked if I've tried things. I think I've browsed through there. I don't think I've really downloaded anything off of there because, well, I haven't really printed anything. Most of everything that I've printed in the last year was stuff that it was either a Benchy for testing or stuff that I designed for a need. So now the reason that the Prusa needed to be fully tested and to know that it's going to work is because Zach is doing I don't even know my own kids' names. Zach is doing a thing at school where he has to be Alexander the Great. Oddly, not my child named Xander. My other child is going to be Alexander the Great. But he wanted a helmet, a Greek helmet. So I'm going to try to print one out. It will likely be in multiple parts, but that's okay because I have 3D Gloop, and 3D Gloop is always the solution to multiple 3D printed parts when you want them to be one forever. Literally forever. So what is going on with your video there?
I was adding a screen capture.
Oh, yeah, because it went blank and now you have a floppy.
So I loaded up with the emulation software so I can basically load my virtual hard disk in here and then install software and stuff. I figured that's cooler to show than
that's pretty cool.
So I just need to go because I want to do a fresh install of System 6.0.2 onto as large as I can make it image. I don't have to readjust this later, but I have to figure out how to make an empty hard drive first. But now the only thing I'm lacking over here is a second screen for doing this stuff.
Yeah, you can't have enough screens.
It's true. But they get in the way for filming over here, so the maximum I can have is one that I can then pivot back and forth.
Yeah, well, see, being that my camera's on that side of me, I have the two monitors up here, and then I have one that sits just below the camera. The camera films over the top. In the new setup, I'm hoping to put one just above the camera as well, which is where the chat will be, so I don't have to look like this to read the chat. I will be looking here to read the chat.
Yes, this is working okay for me. I've got the camera on top of the screen that has chat on it, so now I'm looking at the screen / camera when I'm responding to chat.
But where is the monitor with my face on it?
Also there, because I said only one here.
Behind the chat.
No, chat's on the side of it, and then I've got
be looking at this. Oh, you look at the chat in the StreamYard window?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I always look at the one on YouTube. They're a few seconds off, but Brian said I just did a lot of upgrades on my Ender 3 V2, went full on linear rails, and it was so worth it. Sweet. I bet that made a huge improvement. It probably also cost twice as much for the linear rails as it did for the whole printer. I just did a lot of upgrade. Don't miss the wheels. I still want to play with, and I'm gonna apologize right now that I can't remember what those were called. It's a wheel set that locks onto extrusion. He was at IRF, the last IRF that we were ever allowed to go to in person. Why can't I remember the name of those? He had given me a couple sets to play with. I still want to work that into a redesign on the FK1 and see if it makes a difference. Because they're super smooth. They are super smooth.
You're talking about the. Did you just say the name of them?
I want to say that it's like EX, like X something.
It's carriage. It's got carriage in the name though, doesn't it?
Dang it! Now I got to go look it up.
Because those are the ones where like the wheels grab onto the.
Yeah, they're just like they're tiny metal wheels, and they ride the outside of the extrusion.
Yeah.
Somebody spoon feed me. Come on. Brian said, not really. I got everything on 3D fused. It was only like 100 something. That's not too bad. Linear rails have definitely come down because I know all of that stuff was crazy, crazy expensive. I mean, I honestly, like, I don't know if I've heard anything about these in a long time. I don't know that he's even still around, but super nice guy and fantastic product. I was super excited to see it and get to play with it, and I do have a sample of it. Oh, it looks pretty good. So my wife has made this now for Zach. This is his. She keeps calling it a skirt, but I guess it's the belt. But that's for Zach's costume to be Alexander the Great. Yeah, it's pretty good. This is that craft foam. Oh, I like the little triangles that you did. That's jazzy. That's jazzy. Take you back to the printer so you guys can see the printer. Wow, it's gonna bother me now if I can't find the website. So if anybody wants to know what it is that I'm going on about, EXO Slide.
You got it.
EXO SLIDE, EXO Slide. I know because he was smart enough to to actually form the name into the part. But it's this, and it's got these little wheels which are really just bearings, but they slide on the outside, hence the EXO. But they slide on the outside of extruded aluminum, and they're just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And like this one, and it's got all kinds of mounting points and stuff. This one is for 40 mil, and then right, or is that 20 mil? I can't remember now. Yeah, this is 10, right? 10 this way, 20 this way. But yes. And then there's a small one. Whew. Apparently they need a little lubrication. They've been in the box since, 19? Yeah, really, really nice quality product. Decent amount of mounting points. Let's see if, I mean, I'm hoping that he's still around. I didn't even really think about it.
That he may not be?
Well, yeah, I mean, COVID was hard. No, his website's still up. So for those interested in checking that out, boom, Shakalaka. Yeah, Clint. Oh, sorry. Keep doing that. I'm not used to this camera being here. Clint said 1 inch is equal to 25.4 millimeters, which I do know that. 3/4 is 19 millimeters, but yeah, so it's 20 this way, 40 this way. It's 20/40. See, that shows how long it's been since I've built anything fun. That's not true. Just
And he used to be the king of fun.
I've built all kinds of things that are fun, just not 3D printed related. Yeah, he's got yeah, oh, that's right too. These can also be locked like this into a corner if you need to come around a corner of a piece. You can actually lock them like this as well. Super smooth. I mean, just super smooth. Brian said, yeah, they're a good company. By the way, they just need more hype. Yeah. And that's the BB3D guy, Brian Vines. I guess if you're going to be promoted on the YouTubes, Brian's the guy to do it. So yeah, I'd like to work that into some type of a design and see if I can get away from the pieces that I 3D printed with the V-slot wheels, just to make it a little more robust, I guess is what I'm looking for. But I don't know. Stupid thing doesn't work right now anyway. Dumb wires. But I promise that is going to be one of the top priorities when I move it all into the new studio, because I'll be able to get to it easily. I will not be able to pile junk around it because it'll be the background of my video area. So Brian said, did you guys know you can 3D print chainmail now, but it's like little triangles. It's pretty cool and looks like armor. Well, that's neat. Use a nice, one of the nice silver metallic filaments. But the important question is, will it stop an arrow from hitting you in the lung? I only say that because Zach was telling me that Alexander the Great got shot in the lung by an arrow. But apparently that's not what killed him.
Halitosis killed him.
What's that?
Halitosis killed him.
It was a bad pot pie. Oh, I've been doing a little CAD work this week. I'm designing the sump tank for my aquarium setup for my turtle. I'm going to do it out of 3/16 inch thick acrylic inside of a 75-gallon tank. So I have zero experience designing a sump, so it could be a total failure. But the good part is I just cut out the silicone and do it all again. Make the FK1 linear. Yeah, I don't know if that's really necessary. I mean, it's pretty smooth for what it is, and the way that it's built and the way that it rides, it kind of rides on top of everything. The bottom wheels are just there to stop it from getting crazy and hopping out of there.
So does that show that I currently have about 2 gigs of free space on that hard drive that I just made?
What's that?
Does it show that I've got about 2 gigs of free space on that hard drive I just made?
It's so tiny. Yeah, 2098.
We'll just call it 2 gigs. I made a 2 gig image, and then installed the operating system on it. Because the thing is, this emulator allows you to run the Macintosh up to like, what is it? Speed. You can run the fake Macintosh up to like 32x regular speed.
It just blows my mind, though, that thing can handle a partition that big.
Well, we'll see what happens when I move it over to this guy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should test that before I go any further, or if I should just go ahead and load all my software.
You should probably test it before you go any further.
Yeah.
That just seems like a lot of space for a machine of that age. I'm
gonna go ahead and try anyways.
I don't even know if had an inkling that storage space was going to be that big.
I'm going to go ahead and copy the basic software and stuff into it, because I don't think it'll take more than 30 seconds to a minute. Did anybody in chat have one of these back in the day? Is there software games I should be showcasing on this thing? Like, I've got a bunch that I found on my own. Prince of Persia is actually really interesting.
The old Pop game. Yeah.
The old Pop game?
Pop? Prince of Persia?
Oh, yeah, okay. Wow, I'm a little slow on the uptake today. I think it's in here, actually.
If you don't necessarily print a lot of things, going to maker fairs and the 3D printing conventions is getting old. I would just go talk to people that are coming. I still like to do the maker fairs. So, all right. The IRFs, the RRFs, the IRF and the MRF. My printer is still special. It's still different. It's still cool. It's my own design. I built it from the ground up. With some input from others, but regardless, but it's a 3D printing convention, and there's a bunch of 3D printers there. What I love about the maker fairs is you have people that don't really know about 3D printing and have never seen a 3D printer, so they're already just mesmerized by the technology, which, don't get me wrong, I still am. It's absolutely amazing to me that I can draw something in my computer in just, mere seconds, although a lot of seconds, but, in a couple of hours or whatever, I have a prototype in my hand or a useful item. Like I have a lot of stuff that I 3D print just for the actual use. But I love that. I love when the kids come up and they got that gleam in their eye and they're just completely mesmerized. And then when you hand them something that you've 3D printed, a benchy or a makey robot or whatever, and you tell them, hey, you can have this. You would think that you just gave them $1 million. I mean, they're just so excited. They're like, really? I can have this? And I'm like, yeah, I got like 5,000 more over here. But that's why I like the fairs, and that's why I like the maker fairs, because it's not all just 3D printing. Now, I like the rep festivals because of the people that are there. I go there to see my extended family. So,
like your brother from another mother.
My brother from another mother, Walter, Chris Riley. If you guys have never heard of that Chris Riley guy, he's got a YouTube channel called Chris's Basement. He does some pretty good 3D printing stuff.
Is he in chat right now, or are you just being nice?
Nah, I'm just being funny. I don't know. Sometimes he listens in and doesn't let us know he's there.
Oh, you're being funny because he's so much better at everything than we are.
Because of what?
He's so much better at everything than we are. He's so much more successful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why when I find a YouTube channel that, needs help and they only have like 2 million subscribers, I'm always like, go check them out and give them a subscription because they need it.
Just bleep it into the comments below. Okay, I'm copying that 2 gig file. It's going to take a couple of minutes, but I had to walk away from the computer to do it.
Yeah, you're hard to hear, though. Brian said, hey, Glenn, I can probably think of something that you would like, one of those robotic little entry-level CNC mills or a laser cutter. Well, I don't have a CNC mill. I started printing out an MP CNC machine for cutting wood. In fact, here's a piece where I ran out of filament. I got a whole bag of parts. I just never went any further with it. As far as the laser, I don't know who would want one of those.
I've got one.
I cannot confirm or deny whether I have one.
Just like Andrew Garfield couldn't confirm or deny whether or not he was in Spider-Man. Because if he did, he'd have no way home. I did some 3D printing and design this past week, actually. I'll show it when I come back on camera in a minute.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I said I did some 3D printing and design work this week myself. I'll show it when I get back on camera in a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, again, I was doing CAD work, but it's not for 3D printing. It's just pieces that I'm going to cut out of the acrylic for the tank. My turtle, who is getting to be quite large, she's about a foot long now. She's currently in a 55-gallon tank because she ate all the silicone out of her 75. So I bought her a 240-gallon that she'll have about 180 gallons of water in. And then I did a 75-gallon sump tank underneath, so all the filtration and stuff happens under it, and you don't have to see it or hear it, or she doesn't eat it. Because turtles get very bored. For those who have never had an aquatic turtle, they you got to kind of keep them stimulated. They get bored. So if you have a sand bottom tank, you give them a couple of river rocks and you poke them down in the sand, and then they dig around until they find them. They really do have a great personality. They're an amazing animal, and I never realized it until we got her. But Brian said, I really want to see you do stuff with the laser cutting and like light mill work. I'd love to do some laser cutting stuff, but I just don't have a laser cutter. It's actually, I mean, if I had one, it's an engraver. And if I had one, it would be capable of cutting 6mm acrylic and up to like 15mm in wood. But that's if I had one.
Big if.
Big if, yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming back over.
What's that?
I'm coming back over. I'm not going to be a disappointing voice anymore.
And light mill work. So I think it'd be dangerous if the FK garage got a Bridgeport. Actually, it's funny you should mention that because, and not right away. I have to do some construction in the garage. I'm going to build out, and I can't afford the wood right now because it's ridiculous again, but I'm going to build out separate rooms, and two of the things that are going to get added into that garage eventually is a Bridgeport. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Bridgeport, just a decent mill and a decent sized lathe. Because that is two things that I have not had access to in a long time, and I definitely want access to both of those. The other thing that I'm looking at is a CNC plasma table. So, which is, I mean, it's no different than our hobby level stuff, just larger and more industrial and more capable of killing you. Hey, Uncle Ron.
So the 3D designing I've been working on, the keyboard for this Macintosh is missing. Well, it's missing 2 keys right now, but it's actually missing 1 key.
A double key.
Well, no, it's missing 2 right now because I'm using one to model a replacement for the other.
Oh, I gotcha.
But the problem with Macintosh keyboards is that if the keycap isn't on it, the default state is pressed.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually put a little dab of hot glue on the edge of each of these so that the plunger doesn't fall down and triggered is clicked. Because
that's really weird. Why would they make it that way?
So the way it works is there's a rubber membrane that acts as a spring that goes around this cylinder, and the keys snap into the cylinder. So the rubber membrane pushes up against the keycap, and the keycap in turn is locked into the cylinder and keeps it up.
Huh.
So I've been working on, not quite done.
Alan King wants to know if you can match the beige.
No, not quite. I do have a beige that's similar, but it won't be identical. But if it all goes well, if I can get these keys to fit properly and they look decent enough, I'll probably try and find some spray paint that's a close match to it and give them a good coating with that.
You should just reprint all the keys in like various colors.
Just turn it into a. I'll match it to the rainbow badge. So I'll start with green. So how many rows are there? 1, 2. There's 5. Green, yellow, red, orange. Green, yellow, orange, red, purple, blue are the colors on there. So I can mix it up with that. I could do green, yellow, orange, red, purple, and then do the number pad in blue.
That'd be fun.
I'm not going to, but that is an interesting idea.
Yeah. So Uncle Ron being late to the game. Ooh, the Prusa. It's alive. Absolutely. Not only is it alive, it's already had a print fail today that, I broke up into pieces because I was bored. I was fidgety. But that whole thing from last week still just absolutely bottles the mind.
Did you say bottles?
What's that?
Did you say bottles the mind?
Yeah.
Like put your whole brain up in a bottle.
I got that from my friend Derek from Vice Grip Garage. We're friends now,
He just doesn't know it yet.
Well, he responded to my comment on one of his videos, so we're friends now.
Oh, what was the comment? What did he respond with?
My comment was it was the video where he was off-roading in the Scout, and he said that we only got stuck one time, and I commented, I said, you weren't stuck, you were temporarily detained. By Florida standards, to be stuck, you need boards and jacks to get out. And he responded with, ha ha.
Ha ha.
Ha ha.
I mean, that's two ha's. He could have stopped at one.
I mean, he didn't even like LOL or just smiley face. He typed out 4 characters, ha ha. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it had an exclamation point.
Should I be getting jealous, or like, am I going to come here next week and it's going to be like
Project Talk with Derek and Glenn? Dude, I'm sorry. I'd drop you in a heartbeat. No. No, he always says that bottles the mind. That's just mind bottling.
There was a TV show or something where somebody said that, and he's like, "You mean bottles?" And he's like, "No, man. Like, get your brain all trapped up in a bottle." I don't remember what the show was now. Somebody in chat will probably know. We have so many people.
Brian asked, speaking of kids, how close is your kid to being able to 3D print his own stuff? I haven't even started working with him yet. I've been so busy with the garage side of everything. So I'd say a ways off. I think he'll get on, he'll grab onto it pretty quick. He's pretty sharp. So.
Say not like the last one.
That's cool. No, this is way off topic, Glenn, but do you ever want to put a Bridgeport in your FK garage? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love to have a mill. I've not run a mill since high school, so I don't really remember how. I would have to, I'd have to do a lot of trial and error and maybe find somebody that could teach me. Same with the lathe. I had lathe access in high school and then a couple of times through life since then. And I have a little one, but it's absolutely a hobby level lathe. So, but I like to be able to make my own stuff, and I make my own stuff now. I just do it the hard way, a lot of hole saws and grinders, but I get there anyway. Well, Jesse Foreman said, I think it was Trailer Park Boys, James.
Could be. My keycap kind of fits.
Your keycap kind of fits? Does it work?
Well, I don't have a membrane, so I got to figure out what I'm going to replace the spring part with, but I think it would. It's now stuck down. I didn't think I was going to get it that close.
Brian said, so you're secretly hoarding a Bridgeport? No, absolutely not at this point. Every once in a while, I fall down the rabbit hole of looking on Facebook Marketplace for a lathe or a mill. And then I find one they're not cheap. They're never cheap. And of course, you got to go look at them before you ever commit to buying one, just because they could be just plumb worn out. But it's moving it. It's, they're always like, oh, you're responsible for loading. So then I have to have a forklift dropped off out there to load it onto the trailer to come home and then have a forklift at home. So the day will come. It's just not today.
Well, both those keys are now stuck down because I knocked the hot glue off of them. So
What happened?
the hot glue that was holding the plungers up is now knocked off both of those, so they're
Oh,
both now in a permanently pressed state.
That makes sense.
So I think I'm just gonna, because I would like to test that hard drive image now. I got off on a bit of a sidetrack here. I want to. I think I'm just gonna put another dab of hot glue in there, get us back up and running.
Alan King said you just need a solid floor. Yeah, definitely not bringing the Bridgeport up here. You know, they're like 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. No, I have full intentions on building a 4-ton bridge crane in one bay in my garage for lifting heavy things off of trailers and out of the back of trucks. And I'll end up using it to lift everything because I get lazy at my age. But so loading one here at home wouldn't be so bad. And then it was Stacy David did a tour of his shop. If you don't know who Stacy David is, he used to do all kinds of car shows on Saturday mornings. Now he's on Gears, Gearz, Gears. But he was giving a tour of his shop, and he had said something, and all of a sudden it was like a light bulb went off, and it totally made sense. He says that he mounts every bit of his equipment to a pallet, whether it's a custom built pallet or just a regular pallet. But that way he can move stuff around with a pallet jack. And like that's just genius. I need that.
Easy to reconfigure your workspace then.
Exactly. Yeah, or move stuff to clean or whatever. Brian said, as good as you are, you can find a sponsor. Oh, that's so sweet. It'll happen. The channel, I'm assuming you're talking about Garage. The channel's just too new. And I got to be honest, as much as I love free stuff and I love, money, I'm also very picky about who I'll take on as a sponsor. Like I will not ever accept a sponsor that's not a product that I believe in. I will never give a good review on something that doesn't work for me.
I did get my first sponsorship offer for Print and Play Retrospective.
Sweet.
I haven't decided how that's going to work out yet. It is it is a company that I will work with.
It's a company what?
That I will work with, like that.
Yep. You got to make sure you're facing the camera when you speak.
Oh, because of the volume.
Yeah, because when you turn away, you get muffled.
I wonder if I can make that.
Get you a lav mic.
So I was actually going to say that is on my list of equipment that I need to get. So if anybody has any suggestions, so I'm going to go higher end for this one because my voice sounds terrible enough as it is. So, yeah, I'm thinking probably around the $200 mark is where
I'm going to throw in my vote for, it's either pronounced Comica or Kamika. They actually have one that I'm likely going to order a set this week. It's 2 transmitters and a receiver, and it's always put against the Rode Go 2. You know which one that is?
No, I'm just starting to I have looked at some of the Rode mics. I don't know that one off the top of my head.
You know who Rode is. So
yes.
Rode has got the Go, which it's a little tiny. It's like this big. It's just this little tiny box, and you'll see people with them clipped to their shirt, and it actually has the mic built right into it, or you can do a lavalier. So Comica, that's how I pronounce it. I hear people say it Kamika as well, but I actually reached out to them for sponsorship, and they said they don't have any current sponsorships open, so that's fine. It's $269 US. And you get 2 transmitters and a receiver. But the sweet part about it, it's got a record button on the transmitter. So you can actually record into the transmitter as well as right to your camera at the same time. So if the audio cracks up or breaks up, you have a backup audio copy. That's pure.
That sounds pretty sweet.
You can also put the receiver in what's called safety mode. You can either do it mono, stereo, or safety. So stereo is 1 channel for each transmitter. Mono obviously crams both of them into the same channel. safety records one channel at whatever the dB you have it set at. The other one is 6 dB lower. So if you have something that spikes your audio, you have a secondary copy of that in the other channel that you can then use that so that it's not clipped. Once in a while, I get a little carried away in the garage, and I get a little excited, and I hoot and holler, and it clips. Alan King said, unless it's Coke Zero. Did you get Coke Zero as a sponsor?
No, it's not Coke Zero.
Oh. Yeah, they're never going to sponsor us now that I've quit drinking it.
Brian says, sounds like that's way overcomplicated as usual. Cough, cough, apple. I'm not sure what we were talking about.
No, I don't know.
And then, or James, go to the beauty supply store and get that perm compound. That's what I've been doing to use retrobiting, or to do retrobiting on these devices. I've actually got it right here. Wrap it in plastic, leave it on the sun, it'll turn white again. I've already done that for this guy. The color correction on my camera is not great right now. This is actually like a very light gray now.
Yeah, if I put something like that out in the sun, I'd go back 2 hours later and it would just be a pile of goo.
So this is booting off of, I think. No, it's not booting off of the hard drive that I thought it was. Let me take a look here. What did I pick wrong? Oh, here. I forgot to do a shutdown before I switched the drive image. Now it's time to see if it'll load off that 2 gigabyte drive.
That'll be interesting.
I think it will. Yeah, it says system 6.0.8 2048 megabytes. So let's see what happens.
It's just, that would be so amazing. I mean, they just couldn't have even known that we were going to have the size drives that we. I mean, in fact, Amazon is coming today to deliver me a 10 terabyte drive that has to be shucked, but whatever. So that I have room for all of the garage video.
There we go. 2049938 kilobytes available.
That's pretty amazing.
And now I can take all the floppies that I've got.
My first PC, which I bought in like 92, had a 240 megabyte hard drive. And I was super excited to have it.
How the turntables. Now I can back up all the floppies that I've got in this bin here that are Macintosh ones onto this hard drive image.
Brian said, wouldn't necessarily stop at 3D printing because if he's got ADD, his mind is going to be bouncing all over the place to take him with you in the. Oh, you're talking about Zach. So, all right, little known secret. I also am ADD.
No.
Squirrel. Zach, like I know what Zach goes through. Like I watch him react to things and do things, and and I totally get where he's coming from. And I know that his brain works a lot like mine. So back 5 or 6 years ago now, Zach and Xander both got a go-kart for Christmas, and they don't ride them nearly as much as I thought they would, but it's they have no suspension in them, and our property is pretty rough. And just like 30 minutes of riding that thing, you feel like you were, thrown down the side of a mountain. So I told Zach that we're going to get rid of both the little go-karts and trade it in for one big one with full suspension and something that we can put a ripping engine on. And so he's all about that. So he'll be involved in that project for sure. But Glenn Hogue said my first drive was 10 megabytes. I'm picturing one of those 5 1/4 hard drives. I know Seagate made them. They took up a whole 5 1/4 drive, and then when you went to the 20 megabyte, it took up 2 5 1/4 drives. Do you remember those drives? Was it? It was like Fujitsu came out with them, but like all of a sudden they came out with 5 1/4 drives, but they were capacity wise about what was already out in 3.5 drives, but it was only one platter, so that was supposed to be faster, and they were awful.
Are you thinking of the Quantum Bigfoot?
That could be.
I've got one in a drawer here if you want me to pull it out.
They're like the same thickness as a regular 3.5, but they're 5 1/4 wide.
They're a little thinner because of the single platter.
Yeah.
Let me.
Those were awful. Quantum.
No,
Bigfoot.
yeah, they were not fast.
No.
They were not reliable. Let me see if it's still here.
Was that a Seagate product?
No, it was Quantum.
Quantum was the manufacturer?
Yep.
Huh. I thought they were owned by somebody. They probably were eventually, but yeah, Quantum Bigfoot. That sounds right. I probably shouldn't search Bigfoot on my computer, but I'm gonna anyway. Scary things come up.
Are you usually
Quantum
scared?
Bigfoot. Yep. Produced by Quantum Corp from 1996 through the late 1990s. Okay, so they were manufactured from 1996 to late 1990s. Would that be 1997?
Yeah.
I know they weren't around very long. Yep, there you go. Those were awful.
This one here is maybe 6 gigs.
Duff said 486 DX2. That was my first PC. It was a 486 DX2.
I think this is a 4 gig one.
That's a what?
A 4 gig.
Really? They made them that big?
Apparently.
Yeah, I can't remember what size drives were back then, but
I'm guessing because it has on the barcode, if it'll focus.
this says that they were
4.0
available in 1.2 and 2.5. Oh, wait, no, that's the original series. There's a Quantum Bigfoot CY TX TS. The TS you could apparently get all the way up to 19.2 gigabytes of slow, unusable space.
It's like, hey, if you really hate yourself.
Brian said, either way, we'll be here along the way. That's greatly appreciated. I hope that if anything ever happened to Fun King 3D and I was only left with Fun King Garage, that everybody would follow me over there and hang out with me over there. Because
I probably would.
you wouldn't?
No, I said I would.
Oh, well, that's nice of you. I haven't even turned around to look at this print. Hey, what a surprise. It looks fantastic.
Well, you solved all your problems last week.
That still just boggles my mind. I mean, I would have never thought about that. Like like when I went to move the bed and it was stiff, it just kind of felt like the resistance of a stepper motor. But it makes sense now that I know what it was. And it also makes sense why all of a sudden that thing was slamming the bed, because it would go back and it would touch the stop. And then going forward, it was running the bed too far because the pulley was now larger in diameter. Works the same way when you put bigger tires on the back of your car. That's why muscle cars have big, tall slicks on the back of them.
So at Easter, hopefully everything goes well. I'm coming back with that Macintosh LC3, which is paid for, that my buddy picked up. But he also has, because somebody said 486 DX2.
Yep.
He has a few 486s. I've been looking for a 486 non-laptop because I have a 486 laptop. Because I'm trying to fill in those eras that I'm missing.
Right.
And I find the 486 does pretty well for like 386 and 486 stuff. And then I've got low Pentium, Pentium 2, Pentium 3, and Pentium 4 covered. So like the 486 is the only spot that's weak. So he's like, these have been sitting on the shelf for a long time. So as long as one of them still works. I said,
Yeah,
did you put batteries out? He said no. I'm like, oh.
I've got a couple old machines sitting out in the big garage that are all duals. Like I have a dual Pentium 2, a dual Pentium 3, because they were all my old servers. Because there was a time when I used to run an FTP site that people could come in and upload MP3 files to.
Yeah.
Then
Found a way to keep your own collection.
Then Napster came along and destroyed all of that.
Made it irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I ran a ratioed FTP site. It was 1 up to 5 down.
You know what's been interesting to me so far in terms of like, because this wasn't really a. Oh, this disc is unreadable. One of the things that's come up is that so many of these software disks that I got from this old Mac have the operating system plus whatever software is on them.
Wait, say that again?
So, like, in the PC world, I would I might have a boot disk that had a bunch of games or something on it so I can plug it in and not have to switch.
Right.
But in this case, every software disk that I got, like a guy that I used to work with gave me a stack of old floppies. He's like, you can wipe them out, you can take a look for the software, whatever. All of them are basically Macintosh boot disks with the software on them. So, like, I guess you can boot it up with a single purpose in mind.
Okay, well, that's how, like, the first PC we ever had in the house, which was my mom's, was an IBM PS2, and it didn't have a hard drive, and that's how you had to do everything. Every disk was a boot disk, and it pretty much, when you put that disk in and boot it up, it would run whatever that software was.
So I've got, and it'll be in a video fairly soon, I've got an IBM PS2 transformer. It's a laptop that's got a detachable screen on it, so you can use it as a desktop replacement, basically. Okay. No hard drive, but dual floppies. And with that one there, all the software is like you have a boot disk that has, the main tools and stuff. And then the other drive is the one you use for your software.
Lester said, I remember seeing Michael Dell had an IBM PC user group selling hard drives off a 6-foot table. They were 10 megabyte drives. somewhere around here, I have a price sheet, a computer product price sheet that I want to say was from the early 90s, and I'll have to dig that out. That would be fun to show off at what was available and what it cost. I also want to throw a big shout out to all of my Fun King Garage Patreons. This week was the first batch of swag that went out. Everybody who is a $10 and up Patreon got a sweatshirt, a hoodie, and the new Fun King Garage stickers. So shout out to all 0 people that got one of those.
and the $1 million bonus, right?
And the $1 million bonus. Chris Lane from Venturi 3D, however, is my newest Patreon subscriber for Fun King 3D. He's not in here today. At least I haven't seen him, but huge shout out and thanks to him for supporting me on the Patreons. Alan King said, just subscribe to the Fun Garage today. I appreciate that. I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah, and again, apologies for a video not going out. We had some issues, and then we had major. Sean is now in Tampa, and I guess his internet connection where he's living is complete and utter garbage. So he wasn't able to upload it to me. He actually brought it to me in person today. So I have that video, and that will be uploaded for Friday at 10 a.m. Now, him and I did have a conversation. He said, well, you could release it late. It's not really that important that it be released on time. But I'll have you know, my mother called me on Saturday and wanted to know where my video was this week because she couldn't find it. She's also can't subscribe because she can't remember her YouTube password, but she calls me to tell me she likes it. Though she doesn't watch anything on this channel. She says, the other channel, I'm funny. This channel, she just doesn't get. I'm like, I'm the same person. There's a lot of things that I say and do on the Fun King Garage channel that doesn't really make the cut because I know my mom watches it. Yeah, this week's video is the second in the series of the 2007 Explorer Overlanding series. Next week's video, or the next video, I'm hoping it'll be next week's video, will be the Ford Fummins 6.4 liter engine removal. Yes. But I already told you guys, I'm so much further with that project than where the videos are at. Did I tell you, James? Did I tell everybody that my mom called me a couple weeks ago about my videos and wanted to know why I never finished any of the projects? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, you were working on your black truck and now you're working on a different truck, and I never seen you put the cab back on your black truck. And I said, well, the way YouTube works, you can't just release it all in one day. That was like 8 months worth of work. You can't just release it all in one video, or I wouldn't have time to make another set of content. And she was like, oh. I said, it'll happen. It'll get there.
I can't tell. Do you see what looks like a string on the screen right here where the mouse is?
That's it's like away from the camera, so I can't really see that side. I still think the refresh on that monitor is like crazy cool though. So like that monitor, I don't know if you can see it, but that monitor to me has like, I don't know, fish scales. I don't know how to describe it. But
the
it's
Moira
like
pattern.
What's that?
It's called the Moira pattern, I believe.
Is that part of the desktop, or is that just?
No, that's just the way the camera captures it. You see it moves around.
Oh yeah, now it's nice and clear. Yeah, but then the refresh rate is not like straight down. It's almost like from the lower right-hand corner.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
So you can sort of get rid of some of that Moira pattern, I think, by doing. Let me see here. Basically, one of the things was recommended to like just slightly defocus it.
Well, and I think if you change the frames per second that your camera runs at, but Uncle Ron said 1 video a year. Yeah, I tried that in the beginning. I released the first Nissan Maxima video, and then I waited 9 months for the second one, but it really wasn't good for channel growth.
So I've never had to say the word out loud, but Lester just put it in chat. I don't know if I was saying it right.
Moira? I have no idea either. What? Droga Yacht Comb? What? I don't know. You can punch it into Google and Google will say it for you. I told you all that Xander's really excited about me moving out of here so that he can not be quiet on Sundays. Today's Sunday and he's not being quiet. Oh, it wants to give me a YouTube video for, hey, look, it's my mom calling. Was she listening? She wouldn't call me live. I'm gonna mute you guys. I'll be right back.
So I've got Microsoft Word version 4.0 from 1990 that came on the hard drive emulator that I bought. And then I was going through the floppies that had old Mac software on it. I think there's an older version on there from 1987. Let's take a look. So what did I say? I said that was Word 4.0? Put that in Word 4.0. Then I think I've got maybe 3.0 right here.
I picked up the phone and I said, "You're live on the air." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You're live on YouTube with 5,000 people watching. Is there anything you want to say?" And she's like, "No." I said, "Well, I really am live on YouTube." And I said, "I stream every Sunday, 4:30 to 6:30." And she's like, "Oh, well, call me back."
But he didn't call her back.
Well, not yet. The stream's not over.
So I was just saying, because I've been going through the old software disks that I have, and finding all sorts of archival stuff. So the floppy drive emulator came with an SD card full of old software, and it's got Microsoft Word 4.0 on it. But I just found Microsoft Word 3.0.8, which is 3 years older than 4.0.
Wow.
So I'm just dumping all that stuff into. I got MacDraw 1.9, and then I found a disk with MacDraw, and I haven't checked which version it is yet. It's just neat to collect the old stuff.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I just upgraded to Microsoft Office 2021. And I'll tell you, looks a lot like my 2019 was, huh?
Microsoft Office peaked in 97, and I don't care who knows it.
What's that?
Microsoft Office peaked in 1997, and I don't care who knows it.
Brian said, not sure if it's legal, but if you get something fast enough, like a Polaris Razor Ranger thing, in some states you can drive on the road, and you can take late small trips like to the gas station. Yeah, they're not legal here. I live very close to a community though that is it's absolutely the largest retirement community there is, and golf carts are like, they cater to golf carts, but they're also not supposed to go over 25 miles an hour. Not supposed to. There's people that live in that community that they're like me, and they have them hopped up to like 45.
Nobody kicked in chat, to say if they had one of these back when they were new, and if there's any software I should be looking to put onto it.
A PC emulator.
I think with System 7.5.3, it can read PC disks. I don't think it can do anything with them, but.
Uncle Ron said 2021 is very similar, just the typical proof that MS stands for move stuff. I think it stands for more dollars. They just dropped the line out of the S.
So MacDraw, I have version 1.7 from 1985.
Wow.
And I've got version 1.9 that I don't know when it's from because I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah, I really should dig that old compact portable computer out of the garage. I'd wanna open it up and clear it for unfriendlies before I brought it into the house, which I guess soon I won't have to bring it into the house. It would just go into the studio. But
you might want to take a look and make sure. Do you know what spec it was? Was it like an 8086/8088?
I can't remember. I want to say it's an 8088.
Because past the 8088, when they got to the 286 era, they started putting real-time clocks on them that needed a battery, and those batteries we're at the time where the majority of them have popped at this point and destroyed.
Oh yeah, the little barrel battery. Yeah. I want to open that up and look inside of it anyway, just make sure there's nothing living in there. But yeah, that ran DOS. I think it was 3.3.
Yeah, that would make sense.
With Windows 3.0. And I want to say it had WordPerfect on it.
Probably.
It had something. It had Norton Commander installed on it, which was awesome. I love Norton Commander. And I love the fact that you can get Midnight Commander under Linux. Do you mean a compact luggable? Yep, that's the one. Where the keyboard flips down. It's got the little 6-inch green screen monitor. Yep. I used to have two of them. I don't know whatever happened to the other one. One somebody gave me, it was in pretty rough shape. The one that I have still actually still has the original like compact cover that went over the outside of it. So, hey, Paul Cumber has joined us. Yeah, I should fire that thing up and see if it's even still usable. And then if somebody I knew that was into retro computers wanted it.
Oh, I know a guy.
The next time we were together, because I mean, honestly, it's just sitting in my garage rotting right now.
I'm trying to keep as many of them around as possible. It's interesting. The guy I bought that computer from that I'm picking up at Easter that I got from Toronto. He's been buying them and picking them up when he can, and recapping them because the caps are getting to the point where a lot of those are, they're leaking electrolytic fluid and damaging boards.
Yeah.
So he's been picking them up, recapping them, and then selling them. So I bought it thinking, it's going to be a good project. And he's done all the maintenance stuff, so all it needs is RetroBrite.
Yeah. Paul Cumber wants to know, how do you set up a Raspberry Pi? Paul, it depends on what you want to set that Raspberry Pi up for. There is a number of really great tutorials out there that will walk you through like just about everything. If you're looking at setting up the Raspberry Pi for an Octoprint installation, I do have an OctoPi video. However, it is really, really old. I mean, it would probably still get you there, but there are some really great tutorials out there. I have to redo all of my Pis. I may record it again when I do that, but I just recently set up a Raspberry Pi as a Pi hole. And again, I'm just going to keep pushing that because Pi hole is awesome. But I had come across a tutorial that was like super, super easy. And they've made it really easy to install the operating systems and stuff now too. So yeah, the Pi, is it Pi Foundation? Pi Group? Who owns the Raspberry Pi?
The Raspberry Pi Foundation.
Is it the Raspberry Pi Foundation? Yeah, they've done a really, really great job through the years of making that thing better and better and better. Now, if they could just make them and have them show up places and not be $1 bazillion a piece right now. What makes a 3D printer beep? It's usually the little piezo speaker in there. No, I'm just kidding. That's like asking, why does my car make this weird noise? There's so many things that would make it beep. Nadav said you can use something I don't know how to pronounce to install Octoprint Clipper. Well, I'm sure. I mean, if you're looking to do OctoPi, there's a super easy install for it. Just Google OctoPi install. Not that I don't want to help. I just can't. I have to go look that stuff up too. Like it's not all still in here. This brain is getting old and soft.
Did you see I installed that classic screensaver on my default image?
You installed what?
The classic Macintosh screensaver on my default image of System 6.8.
Flying toasters?
Yeah.
After dark. Oh my God, yes.
I had that on
my PC.
What was that?
I had that on my PC.
Here, I'll turn the volume up. It's riveting.
All I hear is my printer.
Oh, okay. Well, this sounds pretty similar.
Brian said, I just thought about the best invention ever to wake up a heavy sleeper, a 40-millimeter Delta fan alarm clock. If you can sleep through the sound of a Delta, then you're a very heavy sleeper. It's funny because I bought my wife one of those bed fans back a couple years ago now, and it's a fan that you put down at the foot of your bed, and it's got a chute that comes up under the blanket to blow air up underneath there to keep her cool at nighttime. And unfortunately, when you push the button on it, it's got a very high pitched piezo beep when you push it. Beep. And that thing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how soundly I'm sleeping. If she pushes that button, it wakes me, because it's the same tone that a APC battery backup makes when the power drops.
Oh, that boop.
That initial beep, yeah, it's the same tone, and it'll startle me awake in a heartbeat. Paul Cumber said, "You're old school, James." Oh no, he said that's old school.
Why not both?
Why not both?
So yeah, this thing for the video, I upgraded to 4 gigs of RAM. It came with 1. The virtual hard drive, which is now 2 gigs.
That just baffles me. It really does. That thing can see that.
What software do you want on it? All of it?
Yeah, everything they ever made.
And I broke one of the floppy drive. Well, I broke both of them. I fixed one. And then retrobrighted it. All of this was, the front of this wasn't too bad, but the back was quite yellow. The keyboard itself was very yellowed. So it turned out really nice. And it took me 18 minutes to put all the keys back on here, and I've got a nice 10-second time lapse in the video of me doing it. So just
Uncle Ron said adjust the fan speaker volume with a drill bit. Unfortunately, they've got it so far in there that I couldn't get to it without full disassembly on the fan. And if I disassembled the fan and broke it, my wife would break me. So
I got to figure out how I can get this thing online, because I think that'd be a good gimmick video.
Yeah. Glenn Hoke said the Mac could take a drive up to 2 terabytes. And
Really?
it has, as crazy as that is. It just seems weird that something that was from the late 80s could understand 2 terabytes. And that had to have been a situation where they were building it and they said, let's make it handle something ridiculous like 2 terabytes. No, it's handling 2 gigabytes. Right? It's a 2 gigabyte drive you have in there.
I did 2 gigs. It's on a 4 gig micro SD card, so.
So, Glenn, does that actually handle 2 terabytes or 2 gigabytes? Because if it handles 2 terabytes, that's super impressive. And that had to have been done purely as a joke.
I'm gonna look up this model specifically.
Brian said, here's the question. If you could have built a Voron over the FK1, would you have? No. I didn't build the FK1 to be the next great printer or my next great printer, or I did it just to see if I could do it. I intentionally didn't copy anybody else's design, which isn't really true. It kind of started as a blatant ripoff of the G Create Big. Which is where they took 2 of the G Maxes and built them side by side. And I went to Gordon from G Create and I'm like, I'm going to rip you off. And he said, do it. It's so much fun. So he actually gave me some pointers, and that's how it ended up to be the size that it is. And then I came up with what I thought was a really great idea. And then some jerk was like, that bed's going to be too heavy. Don't make the bed move. And so then we went into design phase number 2, and then I showed it. Still can't talk about him. I showed it to another very, very smart person, and he asked me why I made the x-axis on the long direction and not on the short direction. And so I went home and redesigned it again. So it was really just to see if I could do it. It wasn't for any other purpose. And I still have full intentions on releasing it to the public. So if somebody wants to build their own, they can. Or they can modify it. I don't really care what happens with the stuff once I release it, as long as it's never used commercially. Yeah, Glenn said 2 terabytes. When they revised HFS to HFS Plus, it can now support 2 exabytes. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, so all I can find is for the Mac Plus and units like that, the maximum partition size is 2 gigs. So if you have a drive that's bigger than 2 gigs, you have to partition it into multiple partitions. But I don't see a maximum size. So I'm going to assume that what Glenn's saying also applies to this unit. Yeah, well, it says PCI-based Macs can access up to 2 terabytes. I don't know.
Ooh, the Amazon guy was here.
He didn't bring you your pizza.
No, he doesn't bring me pizza. But you know what I did find out? So I don't know if you guys you have Sam's Club?
I don't think so.
It's owned by Walmart. It's a warehouse club. You pay I was gonna say a prescription. You pay a subscription, like a membership every year. We have Sam's, BJ's, and Costco are the 3 that we have here in the U.S. But we have a Sam's Club. They're just getting ready to open a BJ's now, which will be nice for a change. But I just found out, because we have the Sam's Plus membership, that we get free delivery. We get free shipping on stuff. So my wife went there the other day to get some stuff, and they didn't have my vitamins. So I got online. I find out they have free shipping. It comes FedEx. They FedEx you whatever. So now I can get groceries. Like I can get my Cheerios and all this, like obviously not frozen stuff, but dry goods. So it's pretty cool. Uncle Ron said he probably threw your new HDD against the front of the house. No, our Amazon drivers aren't so bad. I have a love-hate relationship with the corporation, the company as a whole, but our drivers are pretty decent. Now, the FedEx guy, on the other hand, our FedEx ground driver is pretty awesome. Anybody up the chain from there, I don't know. I don't know what they do to my packages, but they're always just absolutely beat. So...
they're mad at you for how much you order.
Printer's too quiet. Needs a Delta for a part cooler. Yeah, I had to buy two 120 millimeter case fans for my PC. One of them, there's 2 in the front, 3 inside, but the one of the ones in the front is starting to chatter real bad, and so I got online, and they're like, set of 4 for $90, and I'm like, I don't think so. I'm not paying $90 for $90. I'll go buy its own window shaker air conditioner,
Yeah.
But so I found just some normal cheapy black case fans, $6 each. And I'm like, that's more like it. I don't need RGB. You can't see it anyway. It's in a rack mount case. So Glenn Hogue said HFS Plus Mac OS Extended was introduced in 1998 and supports up to 8 exabytes. I don't know. These hard drives keep getting bigger and bigger, which is fantastic, but hardware and software has always been this battle. They come out with better hardware, so then the people who write the software get a little more lazy, take up a little more space, use up all the hardware. Then they got to come out with new hardware, and then it's just this never ending. So these drives keep getting bigger and bigger. But again, we need better backup. We need better backup options.
Yep.
So I could not afford at this time to buy 2 10 terabyte drives to have redundancy. So I only have 1 10, which is scary to me because of the stuff that I'm putting on it. But I don't know what to do. I bought a Western Digital MyCloud. Nothing against Western Digital. I love Western Digital. We use a MyCloud drive at work as our server. Just because we're a small company, we really don't need a server. So I bought one for home, except for I ended up buying the home one, which you can either use it through the app or you can use it as a local Samba share. You can't have both. So like I can't use it as a Samba drive here and give Sean remote capability to it. And then each person who has an account has their own area on the drive, but nobody else can see that. There's no type of file sharing whatsoever. It's awful. It's awful. So it's going back because it's complete crap for what I need. And that drive, that's a 4 terabyte drive in the MyCloud. And I paid $179 for it. And today showed up my 10 terabyte drive, which is not a MyCloud. It's just a book drive. 10 terabytes for $179. So, yeah. And we're already almost 3 terabytes of data sitting on that thing anyway. So,
I've got a 16 terabyte drive in my server now, and I've got 8 terabytes of data.
yeah. See, my server it's got two RAID arrays of 8. They're dual 8 terabyte drives, just mirrors. Called Lemmings. And that's where I keep most of my stuff backed up, but there's not enough room on there for all of the FK Garage stuff.
I have to mute the emulator that I was running because it's ridiculous. I don't know if you heard that blast of music.
Yeah.
That was
Duff
unpleasant.
said, just use AWS Glacier S3. You get many backup app to back up to S3. You can copy from S3 down to Glacier for cents. 1 terabyte costs 0.009 cents. That's interesting. I'm gonna snippy that just so that I have something to look into later. I'm not that I don't want to spend money, but I don't want to spend any money. I'm cheap. There's so many other places that I like to spend money, like bettering my camera equipment, bettering my audio equipment, buying tools. I love buying tools. Man, do I love buying tools.
Glenn, can you link me the name of the microphone you were talking about?
Comica, COMICA. It's actually the one that I use. I mean, this is a different model. Oh, no, I broke the belt clip off of it. Let me rephrase that. I popped the belt clip off of it.
Comica.
So it's the Comica Boom, BOOM, like Boom XD Pro.
Boom.
But yeah, it's I don't know if you can even see that. It's so tiny, but this is Comica. I actually have 2 sets of Comica mics, and then I have a Comica shotgun mic that I don't use because on my Sony camera, it's so sensitive. It literally picks up everything. I know I can get an attenuation cable for it, but I went to a Rode shotgun mic. But I like their stuff. I got the first set of these as a review product, and I used them for a long time. But I broke the actual mic cable, and before I could replace it, I got another set of Comicas. The first set of mics I ever used were those Fafines. They were Fafine for a little while.
I ordered one and I never actually used it.
Yeah, so this was the first. This was the. Oh, let me change again. This was the first Comica that I had. This thing is aluminum. Like, it is. The thing weighs like probably 3-4 pounds. It is so massively heavy. So, and I just need to put a different mic cable on these, and these would work. But or a different lav mic. But you can spend $500 on a lav mic. I'm not talking about the transmitter. I'm talking about just the mic, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I think it's what is the big photography shop? Teenage Photo is where I'm going to end up ordering from. They don't have it on Amazon, at least not in the U.S. And the lady that wrote me back, Nori, she was very nice, and she just said, I checked out your YouTube channel. I love what you're doing. I have a feeling you're going to have huge growth, which was nice of her to say, even if it was a lie. And then she said, "We just unfortunately we don't have any sponsorship slots open right now." I mean, I explained to her that I use Comica mics now on this channel, and that I have a couple of them that I use, and she thanked me for support. And so, but yeah, $269 US, 2 transmitters, and the receiver. I love the fact that it records itself. Now it's not automatic. Like, you have to push the button to tell it to record when you're ready to go, to record internally. But if you have it in safety mode, you're automatically recording 2 mono track recordings, and one is 6 decibels less than whatever you have the other one set to. Which is, for me in the garage, kind of important, because I get in there and I use the impact gun, and it's right here, and the mic is right here. That's going to be screechingly loud.
Yeah.
So Brian said, I want to put Octopi and Clipper on a Raspberry Pi so I can run Input Shaper and have the world's fastest Shock Ender 3v2. Yeah, you could do that, or you could. I have no idea what you even say, what any of that even means. I mean, I know what Octopi is in Clipper, but I don't know what that means. I'm kind of out of touch in the 3D printing world, just because I got comfortable with what I have, and then I just kind of stayed there. I like what I have. It works. I can print stupid little trinkets and useful things when I need them.
There we go. There's a classic.
The Oregon Trail. You died of dysentery.
Yeah, but enough about my real life. Back to the game. I'm going to call myself Steve.
You're going to call yourself what?
Steve.
Steve?
Yep.
You got to put a question mark at the end.
Steve? And is he a teacher?
You should have made him a saddle maker.
What do I need? I'm going to buy 1 spare wheel. I keep using the wrong keyboard. 1 spare wheel, 1 spare axle, 1 spare tongue. Let's see, I have $400. Holy cow. I don't have that much money in real life. Let's do 10 sets of clothing.
Could you imagine having $400 back then? Heck, if you got $400, you should get 2 wheels.
100 pounds. Now let's do 250 pounds of food.
We have about 11 minutes left, and I'm sad. And I'm sad that this isn't going to finish in time, because the print is glorious. But I will definitely show this off next week before I give it to Zach, because once I give it to Zach, it's gone forever.
Okay, when do I want to start? Do I want to start in March, June, April, July, May, August?
Well, you're probably going to want to start. I think March would still be too cold. Wouldn't it still be snowy?
Yeah, let's go for April.
April seems like a good time to start.
You start down the trail with 2 oxen, 10 sets of clothing, 200 bullets, 3 wagon wheels, 2 wagon axles, 2 wagon tongues, 250 pounds of food, and $120 in cash. It is currently above warm.
Uncle Ron wants to know what's printing. Had he shown up on time? No, I'm just kidding. It's a boat. It's a toy boat. It is It is now, I can't remember what it's called. It is called the Gunboat MK2 II on Thingiverse. And it's a pretty nice little print. I've printed about, I don't know, 6 of them, I think, total. And even one in glow in the dark. And Zach has claimed them all, loves them. They're great for playing in the bathtub, but we also took them to the beach with us one time, and they're good for, just like he was driving them around in the sand, which was pretty cool. So I don't know. It's about I think it said it was a 2 hour and 15-minute print, so it's probably like 2:45. But that's a nice little toy. I just didn't want to print another Benchy. So many Benchies sitting around. I mean, I could have absolutely just told you guys, oh, I printed this Benchy and it's great. And you'd have never known the difference because it's the same filament. So I wanted you to see it print. Paul Kummer asked, did I 3D print a car yet? No, I have printed parts for a car. Not to build a car, but, for the car. And a lot more of that will be coming on the Garage channel, too. I got a couple of projects coming up that's going to require a lot of custom stuff. So I did, I don't know if I led on to this at an earlier point, but I've got a company that I'm working with for batteries that may be a sponsor of a project that I have coming up. I don't want to give too much of it away. Let's just say it has to do with mowing the lawn. And it also has to do with a gas generator and batteries. We'll leave it at that. I'll probably never use it to mow the lawn, though.
My trip hasn't gone so well. We're 21 days in. One of the people's been bitten by a snake. We've lost a wheel. We've lost an axle. We've lost an ox. And we're through all of our food already.
In 21 days?
Yeah.
Oof.
You must cross the river. The river is currently 600 feet deep and wide and 1.5 feet. We're going to cross that.
I was going to say 600 feet deep. Holy cow.
1.5 feet deep.
So Grisilla and I have been playing some of the Nancy Drew mystery games. My mom used to be big into those, and when she got done with them, she passed them on to us, and I have like 20 of them. Now, some of the older ones won't load, unfortunately. So we've started playing some of the newer ones, and a lot of them we had already played, but it's actually great fun. We play it on the senior detective so that we don't get any hints through it. And there's times when it's maddening because you can't figure out what to do next. And then once you figure it out, you're like, oh, that's so stupid. Why didn't I see that? But it's good. It's good her and I time. In fact, right now it's 6:24, and probably by 6:34 we'll be playing that. Yeah, it's to the point where we have to be really careful because we run past our bedtimes and we're still playing, and then we're exhausted the next morning. Yeah, I'd share the picture of the boat with you, Uncle Ron, but I already closed out the window. I screen shared it earlier if you want to back up. What is input shaper? Clipper is a slicer, right? Is Clipper a slicer? James is into his game. He's not even listening to me.
You say Clipper's a slicer? I thought you were asking Chad.
Is Clipper a slicer?
No, I think Clipper is the it's like a software layer. Like you run Clipper, which is a firmware, and then there's a component that runs on the Raspberry Pi, and it figures out all the, like, it calculates all the angles and the movements of the head and stuff like that, so you're not stuck to an 8-bit board or whatever, if I understand correctly. I haven't played with it at all.
Alan King said control. I might have to look into that. What would really be awesome with the FK1 though is if I could run it more than like 3 prints without it breaking something in the wiring harness. And I'm going to work through that. I'm going to gut the whole entire wiring harness. I'm going to start with replacing all of the 3D printed cable chain with store-bought cable chain. I had a contact. What was the name of that company? There's a like a really well-known company that does cable chain. And I had established contact with him and then ended up meeting him at Maker Faire. And he was going to come to the house to recommend some things, and I just dropped the ball, because I don't like to make phone calls, the whole social anxiety thing with the phone.
Yep.
It's rough. But man, do I got problems. But regardless of that, I want to put like actually manufactured cable chains on there because I can't 3D print them smooth enough where they won't chafe something. So that'll be fine. And then I want to rebuild the harness because the way the harness is, it was pretty tough to build it. But now that I have one built, I could lay it out and use it as a template to build a new one. But it should be noted that the wires that broke this time were the factory wires, the factory extended wires that came with the BL Touch, which were not silicone wires. They were not.
So they don't have that extra bit of stability for.
Right. They're super, super fine. Like all the wires that I used were a little larger than they needed to be. And I did that for 2 reasons. 1, a much longer travel than they should have to go. And 2, also because of the amount of movement. So I wanted a little more bulk there. And Scott McClellan actually sponsored, I would say, every bit of wire that's in that thing except for the cabling for the BL Touch. That was an extension kit that BL Touch sent me with the BL Touch. But yeah, I'd still like to. I want to fix it. I want to fix it with the BL Touch. But I also want to see about putting a inductance sensor on there. And then I'm going to design a head for that thing. I have a Slice Engineering Mosquito Magnum that they gave me so I could fit on there. And I want to do that as well. Nothing against the E3D V6 that's on there. That's a great hot end. It really is. But it's now so technologically old.
Yep.
That, like there's so much better stuff. I wouldn't mind picking up a Revo and putting a Revo on it because I think that would be kind of cool. So. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Clipper is what runs. It's the firmware on the board. I remember that now. However, my board runs, or my computer, or let's try that again. My printer runs a Duet board, so it actually runs the RepRap firmware. And I don't know if Clipper is compatible with the Duet. I love the Duet. What a just magnificent product. And I'm not just saying that because they gave me one. It is a magnificent product.
Well, by next week, this guy will be put away for a bit, and I'll have new project stuff to work on here, hopefully.
Brian said, didn't you get something mailed to you a couple years back that was supposed to be a sign or a plaque or something? Okay, so that was Rennie Tinkerdork made me a Fun King stained glass window. And it was the USPS. Is it the USPS? I think it was the USPS that absolutely annihilated it. I did end up returning that back to him at Murph the following year, but I don't even know if he's still doing stained glass at all. It's sad because I was looking forward to it, but I understand things, life gets in the way. But the parts that were not destroyed were absolutely magnificent. So, oh God, and that would go so good in the new studio because the new studio's got windows. I mean, this studio has windows too. They're just way over there. You know what I want to see? I want to see them engineer Windows so it runs the same as it does now, but not such a resource hog. So you want it to still run like garbage, but you want it to take up less resources. Windows has got so many problems. Uncle Ron said the narwhal. Yes, it is absolutely the narwhal boat.
I keep getting prompted to update to Windows 11, and I keep saying no.
I don't know if I have anything in the house that's capable. Well, Xanders might, but like my machine, it tells me my machine isn't compatible with Windows 11.
Because the security module, right? The TSM.
Yeah, exactly. John Strand has joined us. I had one machine at work. I told everybody in the office, do not upgrade your machine to 11. I had one user that upgraded to 11. And he's like, what do I do? I said, live with it. If you have problems, too bad. But Windows 11 is not compatible with the software that I have to use for work. So it's not even an option. I can't even upgrade to it if I wanted to. I don't want to. It's entirely too soon.
I was reading a report today that the adoption has been significantly lower than Microsoft thought.
You got to turn your head towards the camera.
Sorry, I was reading a report this morning or yesterday morning that said the adoption of it has been much lower than they expected.
Well, honestly, it's too soon. Like, it feels like they rushed it out. You know, like we knew Windows 10 was coming for a long time.
Yeah.
Windows 11 was like, oops, it got leaked. Well, here it is for real. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. And then all of this stuff where, and it could just be rumors, whatever, where Microsoft was talking about putting ads in File Explorer. You know, like, I mean, I don't have to worry about that. I have a pie hole. Get yourself a pie hole.
I just like the fact that Microsoft has ads built into the operating system as it is. I don't want them to get any more intrusive.
Well, not only that, but like, so every time that there's an update and it, you know, like you're going through the reconfiguration, they're like, hey, we want to update your internet settings to use Edge browser. I'm like, no. And then like when you first install Chrome, you know, because you use Edge to go get Chrome, and then it's like, are you sure you want to leave? Yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't have gone and downloaded Chrome if I wanted to keep the garbage you're trying to give me. Oh, which brings me to another rant. I'm still fighting to get Zach's Minecraft account moved over to his Windows account to do the migration. It makes you click that you want the confirmation code. That code does not show up. I can get every other email from Mojang. That email will not show up with the code. And every time that I've emailed support, I just get these BS canned responses. And then I found that they have a Twitter channel and it's like, contact us. We're here 24/7. I contacted them yesterday and still have gotten nothing back from them.
That's horse poop.
For those who don't understand, it's because Microsoft bought Mojang and ran it into the toilet like they do with everything they buy. Oh, Skype used to be a great program.
But if they wanted to buy FunKing 3D off you for a few million, you'd still sell it to them, right?
In a heartbeat. John Strand said that's what I came for. Glenn's rant.
So I think what I need to do is find some foam, because neither of the keys, or the key that's missing over here, I'm not going to use almost at all. So I think I'm going to try and find a piece of foam that I can cut a hole and then cut it so it'll fit onto here.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'll use for to hold it up, and it'll still be pressable that every once in a while, if I need to use it, I can.
Sure, yeah. Like an open cell foam, like a pool noodle type foam?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Probably not as dense as a pool noodle foam. I want something with a little more push than that, but It is 6:36.
It is 6:36. We went
By
over
next week,
because
I
I
should
was
have better audio and stuff down here too. So
well, we went over because I was ranting.
that's fair.
John Strand said, I heard Trump was going to buy Microsoft. Oh, that would be glorious if that actually happened. But Glenn, programming. Okay, John, I'm a procrastinator. So here's let me touch on that. I know we're over time, but let me touch on that because I did reach out to the Twitter hive mind and asked about a programming language that I should learn. I have a project in mind that I need to write. Right now, I do that particular task with a batch file. I wrote a batch file, and that part of it works fine. But I need to enhance it more. It needs to do more things for me. And I thought a batch file isn't really the way to go. I should really write it in something legit. I started writing it in Visual Basic. I think it was Visual Basic. That way it would have a nice little user interface to pop up and stuff. The problem is it needs to store settings, and the way that VB was storing the settings was bad, and it just wasn't going to work for me. So that's what started all of that. I have a little bit of experience with Python already. I'm comfortable working in it. So that actually might be the way I go, even if it doesn't have a great interface or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's just text, but I'll get there. It wasn't this week because I was super busy. This is actually, it's a work project, so I get to use some work time for it. It's really what it comes down to. So yes, it's now 6:37. Do you have anything you want to promote?
I will have a new video this week.
That's exciting.
Just quickly too, if I can get the camera. There, I found some foam while we were talking. Yeah, there we go. And it's pressable and it springs back up.
Fantastic.
It's that repair sponsored by PCBWay. This is the foam that they send their CRT or their PCBs wrapped in.
You're not supposed to mention them on this stream.
Oh, right.
No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. For those that don't know, we reached out to PCBWay, which is one of James's sponsors, about sponsoring these streams, and they said, no, thank you. So
we kind of figured it wasn't going to be a great fit, but because they've reached out to both of us in the past, we thought we'd start with them and then go nowhere.
Yeah, I never ended up taking them up on anything for Fun King 3D. It wasn't the direction I wanted to go in. So, but all right. So James has got a video coming out this week. Which channel?
The Retro channel.
There you go.
Yep.
And the link to that channel is in the description, along with all of James's other links to his Patreon, where you can buy some of his clothing, not his clothing, but merch. I mean, I guess if you want to buy James's clothes,
yeah, you can reach out.
He'll put a price on it. Just hit him up. Don't be weird though. Don't be asking for stuff that he hasn't washed yet, because that's
unless you got lots of money.
Right. Yeah. James and I are always on the same page.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being a sellout if you sell out for the right amount of money.
Hey, check it out. Check it out. My key works.
That's brilliant.
There, we talked today. We did a project today.
I printed something.
My replacement key works. Now I can go get the one that I took off of here as the template and swap it out.
That's pretty cool. So I will have a video coming out this Friday, 10 a.m. on the Garage channel, Fun King Garage, youtube.com / Fun King Garage, funkingarage.com for all of your Fun King Garage needs. I am getting merch. I'm legitimately getting merch, which I need to talk to Uncle Ron about a couple of things before I order it, though, because he's dealt with that company. I do currently have the new Fun King Garage stickers. I only bought a few of them. They're scratch and sniff. They smell like Pine air cleaners. That's a total lie. They don't smell like that at all. But yeah, and there will be some videos coming up on Fun King 3D as soon as I get a laser engraver.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I get one, I'm gonna make a video about it. I'm going to put that thing to work without burning my house down this time. I mean, like if I ever got one. So definitely watch. It probably won't be this week though. Too much going on. Chat was great today. You guys are phenomenal. It was fun seeing some names pop up in there that we haven't seen in a while. So that was nice. We're going to most likely do it again next week.
I would imagine, because I think after that it's Easter, and we won't be doing it Easter.
True. So we should definitely do it next week. I may be in the new studio. I may be in the new studio the Sunday that we come back after Easter then.
That would be nice.
So, I mean, if nothing else, I might just push the rest of Sean's stuff over to one side and start moving my stuff in anyway. I got to do some repainting because I let him paint one of the walls black for his YouTube studio.
Yeah.
And with the lighting that I use, it looks awful. So he always uses that dim, moody lighting. I'm all about being bright and sunshiny. You should get yourself a Stream Deck so you can just push the button and do the same thing. But anyway, so that is going to wrap it up. We love each and every one of you, and we thank you for tuning in. From the bottom of our heart, honestly, we love this community. We love this interaction that we get, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. So never change and never leave me. And until next time, as always,
Print on.